In this video, I'm going to go over the technical requirements, or at least a handful of the technical requirements, a couple of things that I really want you to pay attention to in the Silver Quality Award criteria packet, but it does behoove all of us, of course, to read the entire Silver Quality Award packet. The introduction has all the rules, all the regulations, all the requirements, and I just want to go over it with you here. First things first, note that it says 2025. That is very important because they change or they update the application every 2 years, and in that update, there's always changes to the questions. So if you're using an outdated application from 2024 or 2023, actually the 2024 is the same as this one, but 23, 22, you're going to come up with answers to questions that no longer exist. So make sure you're using the most recent Quality Award application criteria. In this case, we are using the right one here. I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to go through all of the technical requirements. I do want to point out that the application process, this is, well, let me just back up and show you this. This came out, this packet was published on June 9th, 2024. It is not going to get republished until June 6th or 7th, I guess, in 2026. That's when the next update is going to be. So this is good for the 2024 cycle and the 2025 cycle. But this criteria, this timeline that it gives us, is for last year. But no worries, we can just make a quick little adjustment, and we know that A, it's already available, was available since June 9th last year. We know that the intent to apply does open in 2025, in August of 2025, so no changes there. The intent to apply deadline is not going to be the 14th, it's actually going to be the 13th of 2025. We know that because it's always on the Thursday, right? So we know at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the intent to apply deadline is going to be November 13th, 2025. And the actual application is not due January 23rd. Again, it's always on a Thursday. So it's going to be due January 22nd, 2025. The Silver Award recipient announcement will not be June 26th. It'll actually be June 25th, 2025. And then the feedback reports will be in August again, but in 2026. So it's the same structure, same days. It's just 1 year later. No worries about any of that. Okay. Now, of course, you do have to be a member in good standing. There are some eligibilities. It has to be the center applying, not the organization. So if you're an organization that owns 4, 5, 6, 8, 20 nursing homes, the organization can't actually apply for the award, only each center, each nursing home or assisted living center. There are some pretty strict requirements for senior care centers and assisted living centers. You cannot have any IJs, any substandards of quality care in cycle 1 or 2. Again, this is as of December 2025, just hasn't been updated, but it is for 2025. I want to point out that this is a lot of people are like, well, I don't have a 3-star. Well, it's either you have a 2-weighted survey score that is equal to or below 60, or you're a 3-star, right? So it is an either or, and that is, again, as of 2025. So this is going to be by the end of this year. That's when they're going to be looking at that. Survey requirements, again, read all of this. It's really going to be important for you to read it. But this is where I want to hone in the most, on this whole idea of originality. And the reason is because there are only 3 reasons why nursing homes and assisted living centers or whoever applies for the Silver Quality Award, there's only 3 reasons why you will not get it. The number one most common reason for not getting it is because centers do not provide adequate answers, or they don't answer entirely every single question, which is, of course, why you would hire someone like me, consultant, because I'm going to make sure that you do provide answers. You're not going to miss any answers on my watch, but that is the most common reason why centers do not win the award. The third most common reason is actually survey requirements. Survey requirements, you fill out the application, you send it in, and all of a sudden you get a bad survey and you're no longer eligible due to the survey. That's the third most common. But the second most common reason for not winning the Silver Quality Award is this right here. We call it in the Silver Quality Award criteria, they call it originality. In English, my professor always called it plagiarism. But either way, it is not answering the question yourself. It is taking somebody else's answer. So, a couple things to say about that. Number one, read this here. All quality award applications must be written by a staff member within the organization, the single center. Meaning it can't be somebody from corporate who is writing your application. It has to be somebody who actually is working inside the center themselves, and they're the ones who are writing the application. And you wouldn't think that that is too big of a deal, but what happens oftentimes that I've seen is that somebody from corporate will decide that 3 of their nursing homes are eligible for silver, but they don't have the time to fill out the application, and so no worries, I'll just do it myself. Well, then we have 3 applications that are completely disconnected from what the reality of what's going on in the center, which is, of course, not the intent here. And the other thing is that because you have a single writer writing these 3 applications, they're going to be so similar, so identical. They're going to be worded in the same way because it's the same writer over 3 applications that AHCA, every time we get the application, they put it through this little AI machine where they determine whether or not this has been said by someone else in the same similar way, and they flag you for originality. And the worst part about being flagged for originality is there is a 2-year penalty. 2 years. You lose your right to apply for a quality award for 2 years over originality. So it is really, really important to not violate the originality rule. And, of course, it's the second most common reason why centers do not win the award. And now let's get down to that, too, because as a consultant, I work with hundreds of nursing homes all across America. And it is such a blessing for me because I get to hear all kinds of ways that people address criteria, handle problems, settle things, improve processes. Like, it's an amazing seat that I have at the table. At the same time, as you go through my video series, as you have sat in on my workshops, you know that I am constantly utilizing all the knowledge and experience that I have to highlight and explain the criteria on how to address the criteria, how to answer the criteria, how to solve a problem. And I use examples all the time. And what some people do, unfortunately, is they just decide to write everything I say. They're like, you know what, the way that Ralph said it makes the most sense. I'm just going to write it down the way he said it, even though that doesn't reflect what we actually do in the center. I'm just going to write whatever Ralph said. And what's really challenging about that is you won't be the only one who does it. And unfortunately, there'll be a handful, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people just literally write down word for word everything I say in my trainings, and they all get flagged for originality because they're all copying me, which means they're all copying each other, and c'est la vie to the quality award, and you'll be penalized for 2 years. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that these are your words, you're writing it, you work in the center. Make sure originality is really, really paramount. It's really, really important. And it's so super easy to get busted. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Confidentiality, of course, nobody's going to see anything. Renewal policy, and some disqualifications. Technical requirements, like I said, the applicant must respond to the 2025 Silver criteria. Make sure you're using the current criteria as we are in this one. Applicants must respond to all criteria questions. Again, number one reason for disqualification, not getting the award, is because you're not answering all the questions. There is a Silver Quality Award submission template. I highly recommend. It is as one of the downloadables here on the Thinkific app. And it's also at AHCA. If you go to AHCA, you can just log in and get all the tools to include this submission template. It is really, really, really helpful. Other than that, formation, or to format it, 8.5 by 11, 1-inch margin. Make sure you're using the same Font size, it's 10 Times New Roman, 11 Calibri. In your tables, you can use 10 or 9 Times New Roman or Calibri. You can use a smaller size for each one. No big deal there. I did have somebody, and it's 26 pages. I don't know if there's, yeah, 26 pages. I did have somebody who, at the last minute, they shared that they reformatted their graphs and it ended up being 28 pages and they could not figure out how to undo what they did. And the timing came down to the last minute. Again, it's going to be 8 p.m. on a Thursday night Eastern Standard Time that the application has to be submitted. And so finally they're just like, I can't figure it out. And they just submitted because they didn't want to not submit. AHCA wrote them back and said, oh, by the way, you submitted a 28-page application instead of a 26-page application. And no worries, you're not going to be disqualified for it. We're still going to read your application. However, we are not going to consider the last 2 pages of your Silver Quality Award application. And of course, the last 2 pages of the Silver Quality Award application included graphs from 7.4 and 7.5. And so they technically could not win. They did not win because they did not submit. They didn't include graphs or information from 7.4 and 7.5 respectively because they were 28 pages and they did not accept them. So make sure that your application is the right size, the right amount of pages. There are a couple of things you got to make sure that you hit your deadlines. These fees, again, this is going to be November 13th, 2025. This is going to be January 22nd, 2026, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's always the same. You do save $400 if you add the intent to apply. So I do recommend, if you're going to apply for the Silver Quality Award, fill out the intent to apply. Just go to AHCA.com, AHCA.NCAL.org, go to the Quality tab. Say you're going to apply. Costs you $150. You do have to pay with a credit card. That's important too. So when you're submitting your final application, let's say that you're one of those who waits till the last minute on January 22nd, that Thursday night, they are going to be asking for payment. So you are going to have to pay that other $800 when you apply for the award. So the intent to apply is $150, and then when you apply, it's $800. Or if you don't do the intent to apply, it's $1,350. But you will have to pay it at the time of submission. So keep that in mind. There's fine print in here. Application, blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me just quickly go into this. There is a scoring mechanism here. You do have to get a minimum score of 300 points, 175 points for what we call the process categories 1 through 6, and then 125 points for category 7. There's something interesting here where all required results listed below have to be answered. You can't miss any, and these are the required results for 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5. I'm sure most of the time people attend the workshop with me before they're watching this video series, so we've already gone through this in detail. If not, don't worry, we will be going over it in detail in this video series either way. But that's it. It is time to get to the actual criteria. The org profile is where we are going to begin. Let's go.